My name is Rabbi Jonathan Jaffit. I'm the director of Renewal of Life Canada. Renewal is a grassroots nonprofit organization in the Jewish community that helps find altruistic kidney donors for people in end-stage renal failure.
I remember that we had spoken about euthanasia and you didn't think that this issue would particularly touch you and your community, but then it did. How so?
One of the things we do in Renewal is we connect patients with previous kidney recipients. They have peer mentoring program. And so this fellow named Josh, he received a kidney through us and he was so happy and he wanted to volunteer for the organization. So a couple of years later, David needs a kidney and it comes to us and we connect Josh with David, and Josh really helps mentor David through this whole process. 2021, David gets his kidney. He's feeling great, he's feeling happy. Fast forward to 2023 and I get a call from Josh. And Josh tells me that David's kidney is still working fine, but he's got other medical issues. And now he's considering committing suicide through medical assistance and dying.
What did you think when you first heard this?
So it shocked me. I hadn't really expected that. You know, in general, you think someone's getting a kidney. They have a new lease on life. They would probably just be excited to have that forever. But, you know, the reality is there are other things that come up in life. And that's how David was feeling, that there was no hope. And so I put on my rabbi hat, drove right down to the hospital, spent a few hours with him talking. And by talking, I really mean listening. I wanted him to open up. I wanted him to share with me what he was going through. And he really wanted that opportunity as well. I asked David, I said, what's it like having a new kidney? What does it enable you to do? How's your life changed because of it? I got him talking about that experience, and obviously within the context of Renewal and what it did for him and how it changed his life. And by focusing on the gratitude that he had for receiving a new kidney, it really kind of changed the direction of the conversation. Once he was able to kind of focus on the gratitude he had for the kidney, he realized all the other blessings in his life as well.
Do you think that it would have denigrated the gift of having received a kidney had David chosen MAID?
You know, I think in our discussion, by bringing up the kidney transplant, the amazing gift that he got, I think David started to realize that it may belittle the gift that he had by giving it up so soon thereafter. And in the conversation, I picked up on a few things. And one of the things I realized was that he definitely had some unresolved business. He had a number of things for which he really wanted to live. One was family. There were certain family members he felt that he needed to reconnect with. The other one was personal. He had certain projects that he was working on. I'll tell you, one of the things that David did was he wrote plays. And I started talking to him about his plays. And he had actually written a screenplay about old Jewish men going to synagogue. And I asked him what the play was about, and he started getting excited to tell me about it. And I told him that a family member of mine's actually a director, and I'd be happy to send it off to him for critique. And he got even more excited about that after we left, emailing about this play, and I sent it over to my family member, and he sent back notes, and it just gave David something more to live for in his life.
Even from the hospital bed?
Even from the hospital bed, especially these days with technology, you can be so connected from the hospital bed with your laptop and your cell phone. You can actually do pretty much everything from your hospital bed that you can do from home these days.
Many Canadians might find it awkward to go and encounter someone in the hospital, especially if they don't know this person. What would you say about that?
Yeah, it can be awkward to walk into a new situation. That's okay. It's okay to do things that take you out of your comfort zone. It's okay to do things that might feel a little awkward to possibly save someone's life or just make them feel better for the day. Sometimes we have to sacrifice a little bit of our own comfort for the sake of other people. That's part of being in community. On my first visit with David, I was definitely feeling awkward. I was definitely feeling nervous. I was apprehensive of what would come. When I walked in the room, I see his face and he smiles and goes, "Rabbi, thanks for coming." And that was it. The conversation flowed smoothly. It was engaging. He wanted to talk and he made me feel at ease. And I thought I was going there to do him a favor. Turns out that there's a relationship between two people over here. And I think that's one of the things that as a society, sometimes Canadians tend to neglect. They tend to think that there are givers and there are takers, and people might feel that I'm becoming a taker and therefore I don't want to be part of society anymore. It's not true. You have to start thinking about life as relationships between people who are both giving to each other. The more we think about these things as relationships, the more we see the value in having a relationship with another person, even if they're dying, even if they're old, even if they're in cognitive decline, even if they're physically impaired. You're still getting something back because it's a relationship.
What did you learn from your experience of accompanying David in this way?
One of the big things I learned is that, especially when people are in the hospital, they want to talk. They want to share what's going on with other people. That when they don't have that ability, it builds up in them and weighs them down. And just by being a listening ear, it can unload that burden. The Torah says that one of the ways to acquire wisdom is to be noseh ba'ol im chavero, which means to carry the yoke with your fellow person. And I think that just by being there, by showing up, by smiling, by listening and showing interest, I was able to help share his burden. And by the end of the conversation, he said, Rabbi, I'm not really considering MAID anymore. And thank God he lived another year and he died a natural death. And during that year, he was able to reconnect with his family, reconnect with his friends. He's able to spend more time with Josh, make every moment count. Part of that also was giving the opportunity for other people to be engaged with his life. And other people got to do an amazing mitzvah of taking care of him, of helping him out.
How might you encourage someone who doesn't have a sense of mission to find a reason for hope in their life?
What we need to do is change the narrative of Canada. If we look at every individual as being part of a community and playing a role, whether it's a starring role or a supporting role, whether it's a role out front or a role in the back, we're all doing something important. If that's the way we see each other, that's the way we'll see ourselves. Every moment on this world is precious. There is something to do as long as you're still alive.